I told my OCD roommate to get over it, so my roommate Brett had pretty severe OCD. Like he would spend 40 minutes making sure the door was locked every night and wash his hands until they were raw. At first I tried to be understanding because I know it's a real condition and all that, but after 3 months of living together it was getting ridiculous. He would wake me up at 2 in the morning checking if he turned off the stove for the 8th time. He'd reorganize our entire fridge because one jar wasn't perfectly aligned. And don't even get me started on laundry day. He would rewash the same load 4 times because he wasn't sure if he added detergent. The final straw was when my girlfriend came over for the first time. We were making dinner and Brett kept hovering around us, moving every single thing we touched back to its exact spot. When she went to grab a glass of water, he literally snatched it out of her hand to wash it again, even though it was already clean. I snapped. I turned around and said, "Dude, you need to get over this OCD thing. It's just in your head. Stop being so weird about everything." My girlfriend looked horrified, but I kept going. Like, seriously, man, just decide to be normal for once. You're making everyone uncomfortable. Brett's face went completely white. He didn't say anything, just walked to his room and shut the door. My girlfriend was pissed at me for the rest of the night, saying I was being cruel, but I thought maybe some tough love would help him realize how ridiculous he was being. The next morning I woke up and Brett was gone. All his stuff was cleared out except for a note on the kitchen counter. It said, "I'm staying at my sister's place. I'll pay my half of rent through the end of the lease, but I can't live with someone who thinks my brain is broken by choice." I felt pretty bad about it, but also kind of relieved that I wouldn't have to deal with his weird habits anymore. That lasted about 2 weeks, until I found out what happened next. My friend Jake, who knew Brett from high school, called me up and was furious. Apparently, after Brett moved out, he stopped taking his medication and going to therapy. He said if people thought he was choosing to be this way, then there was no point trying to get better. 3 weeks later, Brett had a complete breakdown at his job. He spent 6 hours in the bathroom washing his hands because he touched a doorknob and couldn't stop the compulsion. His boss found him there with his hands bleeding from scrubbing them so hard. They had to call an ambulance. Jake told me Brett was in the psychiatric ward at the hospital, and his family was considering having him committed long-term because he'd gotten so much worse. His sister called me crying, asking what I said to him that made him give up on treatment. I realized I had completely screwed up. OCD isn't something you just decide to stop having. It's like telling someone with diabetes to just choose not to need insulin. I looked it up online and learned that people with OCD literally can't control the thoughts and compulsions. Their brains are wired differently. I tried to visit Brett at the hospital, but he refused to see me. His sister said he kept saying, "Why should I try to get better when everyone thinks I'm just being dramatic anyway?" The doctors said my comments had triggered the worst relapse they'd seen in years. Brett never moved back to our apartment. I had to find a new roommate and pay extra rent for months. I found out later that Brett had to take medical leave from school and might not graduate on time. His family spent thousands on emergency psychiatric care, all because I thought mental illness was something he could just decide to stop having. I never got to apologize to Brett properly.